Hey everyone, Jordan again, and I just Googled how bad can a solar storm really get, and now I'm pretty much an expert. Solar storms, massive bursts of energy from the sun that can disrupt power grids and satellites, and it might sound like a doomsday scenario. Remember Y2K? Remember when everyone thought planes would fall out of the sky at midnight? Or the 2012 Mayan calendar panic where some were convinced the world would end? Kind of including myself. Well, now with the upcoming solar storm maximum in 2025, more on that later, some people are worried about tech meltdowns, imagining themselves foraging for sriracha or Himalayan sea salt in a Wi-Fi-less wasteland. I am getting ready to move locations again. It's kind of a biannual or annual thing that happens. You can see all of the tish I have here. First, I'm going to Seattle for 3 nights, and then I'm going to go to Bali, and I'll be there for the unforeseeable future. I'm going to bring the bags of candy, a little mini guitar. I have some stuff over there that is going to be given away because I have so much crap in the fridge because I'm just an awful person. And I've got a little bottle of red, a little French red, and a nice scotch over there. I'm going to try to smuggle both into Bali. I can get one, but maybe I'll try for 2. Solar storms. This is one of these problems that people worry about quite a bit. Solar storms happen when the sun releases bursts of energy in the form of solar flares. You know, you see the ball of sun with the you know, those things that arch from the sun. Those are solar flares. And then we have something kind of similar called coronal mass ejections, or CMEs. Solar flares are mostly just photons and just like photon radiation, where CMEs are spitting out charged particles, actual mass particles that can hurl towards Earth. And when these particles hit Earth's magnetic field, we know them as auroras, and that is a geomagnetic storm. It's those green, beautiful, you know, things that only people in Alaska see. People in Siberia or Antarctica, or maybe I guess Argentina. Like in 2024, we just had a solar storm hit the Earth, actually, and we could see the auroras all the way down in California. So these auroras are quite beautiful, but they can also mess with the power grids and the satellites and communications. I didn't see them because I was in a Zen temple being boring, but I got reports that they could see it in Southern California. Imagine that. So the big fear is that we get hit with one of these coronal mass ejection CME. It's, you know, if it's like a Russian roulette, I guess Russian, where if one of these bursts happens and it's kind of pointed at the Earth, then we'll get hit with all these particles and it'll mess everything up. It's one of these things in my mind where I thought, holy tish, there's nothing we can do about this. We can't handle a giant storm like the Carrington event, which I'll talk about in a second. It's one of these things I thought scientists and experts were kind of sweeping under the carpet because there's just really nothing we could do, that our power grids were going to explode, et cetera, et cetera. So I've had quite a bit of anxiety about this, and I just kind of had to ignore it. The most infamous example was the Carrington event of 1859, and it caused telegraph systems, kind of the 19th century version of Zoom, to spark and malfunction and break down communication. But that's all we had was telegraph. We didn't have all the stuff we had today. If it happened today, like the Carrington event, experts estimate it would cause up to $2 trillion in damages, with power outages lasting weeks or even months. But here's the thing. Storms of that size are rare, okay? Not something to expect every other Tuesday. And what's more, there's even a better news. So the sun follows an 11-year cycle, and in 2025 marks the peak of that cycle, known as the solar maximum. So this means the solar flares and the CMEs will become more frequent, raising the chances of a solar storm. But while the risks are real, it's not exactly a doomsday scenario, thank God. Okay, you can turn off the video now if you like. Okay. Oh, I want my tea. Shh. Thanks to modern technology, we can now detect solar storms up to 48 hours before they hit. NASA's Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, SOHO, first time, and other satellites monitor the sun's activity, giving power companies and governments time to prepare. And I don't know how they do that. I guess I should know how they do that. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm not prepared for this video, I apologize. But yeah, it's not like detecting an earthquake. earthquakes kind of just happen. We can see this 48 hours away. So they know that means, who cares? I mean, if a storm is coming, they can temporarily shut down parts of the grid or adjust satellites to minimize damage, or adjust satellites, wow. So while it can't stop solar storms, we're much better equipped to handle them. Yeah, solar storms aren't something we're just going to feel hitting us. We don't even notice it except for the power grid. It's kind of like space rain, where instead of an umbrella, we just have to shut down the grids for a little bit. In 2024, a solar storm gave us a preview of what could happen. And it wasn't as intense as the Carrington event, but it still caused disruptions. And it was a nice test for us. GPS systems malfunctioned, drones were literally falling from the sky, and their navigation systems failed. Satellite communications were affected too, so if your Zoom call dropped, you're welcome. Why did I say you're welcome? I have nothing to do with the cosmic conduction. But if you remember that, you didn't have to blame your Wi-Fi, it was the sun. So but here's the deal, the power grids held up pretty well. Early warnings gave energy companies enough time to prevent major outages by temporarily shutting down parts of the grid. There were some minor power fluctuations, but nothing catastrophic. The 2024 storm showed that while we're getting better at handling these events, a larger storm could still be challenging. So it's easy to lump 2025 solar maximum in with other overblown scares like Y2K or the 2012 Mayan calendar predictions. And those things, that freaked me out. Y2K freaked me out. I threw a New Year's Eve party, actually, and when the ball dropped, nobody yelled Happy New Year. We all went, finally someone said, yeah, 2000. And we were like, yeah. We were just happy that did we even have cell phones back then? So both were hyped as world-ending events, but nothing happened. Solar storms, however, are different. They're scientifically documented and inevitable. The real question is, how bad could the next one be? The truth is that even a Carrington-level event would be a big deal, but it wouldn't spell the end of the world. These storms are rare, and most solar storms are much less intense, with 48-hour warnings, power grids that can be shut down, and satellites that can be adjusted to reduce damage. While some disruptions may happen, they're more likely to be inconvenient than catastrophic. For me, that quells quite a bit of my fear that we're just sweeping it under the carpet. Think of it like a toddler having a tantrum. Sure, it's loud and annoying as fuck, but it's not gonna kill us. So as we approach 2025, it's okay to stay informed, but don't lose sleep over it. We've got the technology, we've got the foresight to handle whatever the sun throws at us without needing to hoard sriracha or toilet paper. We don't even have real sriracha in Bali, so we'll be fine.